So I'm making a mid-morning snack and I'm making a smoothie, and I put in some coconut water, some maca powder. I'm about to put in some of this green juice and some flax seeds and chia seeds. But in here is a banana, a mango, an orange, some papaya, spinach. So for lunch today, I poured in this can of chopped tomatoes into the blender. I added a chunk of onion, some garlic, a little bit of capsicum, and some coriander and some spices. And I am going to add that to some mushrooms that I have just on the stove with a bit of olive oil. So I'm gonna cook these up just for a sec and then add that and get it going. And then I have some water starting to boil on the back. And I'm gonna put in some of these organic, I have no idea how to pronounce that word, mezzalune. Let's pretend that's how it's said. There's seitan, tomato, and basil in these, so it's kind of like little raviolis. One thing to remember when you are like making a sauce or like a soup or something with raw ingredients, if you're not planning on cooking it for very long, like when I pour this into the pan, I'm basically just heating it up, I'm not cooking it for long. You have to remember that things like onion and garlic will always be stronger as it hasn't had time to cook and kind of break down the flavor. So you need less of it, if that makes sense. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. I have some cayenne pepper just sitting in the top, and I'm gonna pour it into the pan just as soon as these mushrooms get a little bit brown. I'm also gonna quickly show you guys how I usually make my pretend Parmesan cheese. I usually store this in the fridge and have some kicking around, but I ran out since I've been away. What I like to do is mix a handful of cashew nuts, some salt and pepper, some savory yeast flakes, and a little bit of garlic, and I kind of just pulse it on the blender, and it kind of gives me like a Parmesan cheese-esque thing. It's really yummy. So this is the kind of consistency that you end up with, and I'm just going to transfer that into a small mason jar, and I can keep it in the fridge for like a couple weeks. Today, I'm making a sandwich for lunch. Yes, a sandwich, not a sandwich, because sandwich is just so much more fun to say. I am trying out this tofurkey smoked ham for the first time. It smells really good, so hopefully that'll be good. And I'm excited to try this bio cheese. A lot of you had suggested on Twitter that I should check out this non-dairy cheese, so I thought I would. And of course, I'm using my Chipotle Veganese while I have some left. And onion, capsicum, tomato, cucumber, a little bit of avocado. That's what the tofurkey looks like, by the way, and some lettuce and some whole grain bread. So I am having a smoothie this morning again. It has banana, blueberry, watermelon, coconut water, spinach, cucumber. I'm also again putting flaxseed, chia seed, maca powder, some raw energy powder, and some hemp protein. So that is what I will be drinking this morning, and I'll probably share some of this with Glen as well. I have a mixed kind of garden salad that I'm gonna use as the base. And I have a bunch of snow peas and spring onions cut up. I'm gonna grab a handful of soba noodles that I have drained. I've put some noodles on top, and I'm also gonna put in some fried cabbage, mushrooms, and snow peas. The sauce that I made, basically like a peanut, coriander, chili, ginger, garlic-esque sauce. And I put some sesame seeds, like I said, some pea sprouts and shallots and or spring onions. But yeah, that's what it looks like, and it is so freaking good. So tonight I made a Moroccan lentil soup. I put in a ton of different veggies, but I am letting it simmer, and then I'm gonna add all of my herbs and different stuff there. We'll probably have it with some type of like crusty bun. I don't know, I love bread. I shouldn't love bread, but I love bread. But that is what we're having for dinner tonight. And I'll probably end up keeping a bit in the fridge and then freezing the rest for later this week. I thought I'd put together a snack. I have a green apple, an orange, a couple passion fruits. Passion fruits? What's the plural? I don't know. And some cashews that are, they're raw, and some almonds that have been baked. So today for lunch, I am having some rice paper rolls. I'm gonna be using these Vietnamese style spring roll wraps, and you basically take a sheet of it, which looks like this, and you dunk it into water, which I have in this plate, and it's warm water, not cold. And then I'm going to add some fillings. And for sauce, I made a blending of peanut butter, soy sauce, garlic, ginger, onion, some chili pepper, salt and pepper, stuff like that. But yeah, they're really yummy and super quick and easy to make. I am having some Clean Energy, some coconut yogurt with muesli and nuts and chia seeds and flax seeds. This T2 lemongrass and ginger tea, grapefruit, green apple, I was gonna say green onion, what the fuck? Green apples, strawberries, mandarin oranges, mango, banana, passion fruit. Obviously not gonna eat the flowers. They're just there because they're pretty. I whipped up a quick stir fry with Bragg's stir fry sauce, and I put garlic on it and lime and lots of pepper and some sriracha sauce, and some snow pea sprouts will go on top, some red quinoa, some cashews, and I'm gonna put a little bit of feta cheese as well. This is what it looks like plated, and this only took about 20 minutes to do. I already had some of the veggies pre-cut in the fridge, and quinoa only takes 15 minutes, and then yeah, super fast and healthy and easy meal. And obviously you don't need to add feta cheese if you don't want to add feta, but I like feta cheese on some of my meals, so that's what I did. I made a modified risotto, or however the fuck you pronounce it, for dinner. I used cherry tomatoes and red capsicum, celery, spinach, mushrooms, and then like a bunch of different seasonings. So I'm making burger and fries tonight, but I wanted to show you my trick with fries. I'm not super OCD with them being the exact same, but I basically cut them into long sweet potato strips. And then with anything that kind of looks like it could be a little bit too thin, but it still is in a good shape, I then save that for like Buddha bowls or something in one bag. And then anything that was kind of like a side cut off that's like random shapes and I don't want to use because one end is too thin or the edge is like tapered off too much, I just throw it into a different bag, and I'll use that for like mashed potato type potatoes. But yeah, that's how I kind of sort it, and I can use the whole thing without throwing anything out. So I put some spices on them and I slapped it on a cookie tray, and now I'm gonna put it in the oven. For reference, this is what I put on for spices, and I also put some ground pepper as well. So the fries have been in for about 15 minutes, and I'm gonna give them another maybe 10 or 15 more. And I have the burgers on the pan now. I'm just about to stick those in. Those are the Chipotle black bean burger from Gardein. Really excited to try them. I haven't given them a go yet. While everything's in the oven, I'm gonna start out with my toppings. I'm also gonna saute some mushrooms and onions to put on top. I also threw together a salad, so that'll be served on the side. So I'm gonna have some leftover salad from last night for dinner tonight, and I'm also gonna have it with basil pesto pasta. And I put in cherry tomatoes, some fake chicken, some onions, red capsicum, spinach, mushrooms, cayenne pepper, and a bunch of different spices. And I'm having it with some penne noodles. I'm also gonna use some of the vegan Parmesan cheese that I made the other day. And I'm gonna top it with some pine nuts. I forgot to show you guys while I was making these, but I made little tiny tortilla wraps for lunch today. It's half eaten, but I put in some cucumber, onion, red pepper, lettuce, and some of those little chicken tender, fake chicken things, whole wheat tortilla. I love lentil soup. It is one of those things that you can eat and it just gets better as the days go by. I also freeze some if I make a big batch, so I guess we'll see how much I make right now. I think that since it's not gonna have time to kind of sit and stew for a few hours, because I usually will make it like really early afternoon and then it'll stew for maybe like 5 or 6 hours. I don't have that kind of time, so I think I'm gonna roast some of the vegetables in the oven before I put it in the soup, just to give it a little bit more punch to the flavor. So this is what I'm going to throw in the oven. This was supposed to be a red sweet potato as it was marketed, but we peeled it and it's not red, nor does it look like it's a sweet potato, so that's all right. I have some white onions, some cauliflower, some carrots, some zucchini, and some bell peppers, and or capsicum, depending on where you live. For those of you who are inevitably going to ask me in the comments, I don't have a recipe. I'm just literally taking what is in my refrigerator that needs to be used up and throwing it in a soup pot. And that is the beauty of soups, my friends, that you do not have to have a plan whatsoever. Number one thing my mother taught me, just put it all in there and see how it goes. So that's the plan. I'm gonna chuck that in the oven. I'm gonna drizzle some olive oil over it first and maybe season it with some pepper and a little bit of, I can't pronounce it, trocomere. It's basically like a veggie salt. I am also going to cut up some kale and some coriander and some red onion and some mushrooms. That will be added into the pan after everything is already cooked in the oven. I feel like I like to have a little bit of the bite of red onion, because when you cook onion, obviously it loses a little bit of the flavor, so I like the onion flavor to be a little bit more pungent. Yeah, and then I have my lentils. I think I'm gonna put black beans and maybe some cannelloni beans and some diced tomatoes. I don't know, we'll see what ends up in this soup. It's gonna be good, it's gonna be good. So the veggies are out of the oven. They're not completely cooked through, but they're still roasted a little bit. And I cut up some of the stuff, and it's now going into the pot with a little bit of garlic and a little bit of olive oil. So while this sautés, I'm gonna cut up the roasted veggies and then add them in. So everything has been mingling and sauteing in the pan for a couple minutes, and I'm gonna add some veggie broth. This is what I'm gonna add for some spices to start off with, and I'll kind of go from here and just taste test every so often while it cooks. And I'm gonna let it simmer for pretty much as long as possible until we eat. The longer you let soup simmer, I think it tastes better, but my own personal opinion. I'm gonna chuck in a couple bay leaves as well, but you gotta make sure to take these out before you eat. It's not very good to eat them. So I'm gonna try and grab already whole leaves and just kind of sit them in the top while it's simmering. I'm gonna take the bay leaves out, and then I am going to blend some of this. I wish I had a hand blender, like one of those ones that you can like kind of mash into there, but I don't have one, so I will spoon some of this, and by spoon I mean like use a measuring cup, with some of this into my Vitamix, and then blend some of it, but I still want to keep some of it chunky because I do like having a chunky texture. And then I'm gonna add some kale and some cilantro to it and let it cook for just a little bit longer. I maybe took out half the soup, I guess, and I'm gonna blend that, not completely pureed, but blend it so that it's not as chunky. Then pour it back in, and then put your kale in, and your coriander. I'm also gonna add about 3/4 cup of water to this, just so that when it simmers, it doesn't all simmer away. And then I'm gonna add a splash of just lemon juice. You could juice a lemon if you wanted to, but I don't have any. I just have this stuff. Make sure to shake it before you put it in anything though, if you have this. And I'm probably gonna let this sit for another 15 or so minutes, just on a really, really low heat.